gigawatts of electricity.
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
If you aren't familiar with this pop culture classic, it's a reference to a young man named Martin, Marty for short, telling his questionably accredited acquaintance, who he seems to share a rather odd relationship with, that they need to travel back in time to facilitate an adjustment in the space-time continuum. Weird old doctor guy and young naive teenager, I guess, go back to make sure his dad bangs his mum. Imagine pitching that to a Hollywood executive. Anywho, that's not the topic for today's discussion. Today, I dive into the deep, wonderful world of Have you ever just had the thought, if I ever figured out how to time travel, this exact moment will be the moment I come back and say hello to myself? Well, if you haven't, don't. It's a weird thing to think about and may put you down the rabbit hole of a never-ending what-if scenario. Whilst time travel itself is a massive topic on its own, today I wanted to focus on a specific aspect of the phenomenon, which has been making some weird and wonderful waves around the web for some time now. Alleged time travelers. As funny as these next few words may sound, the earliest recorded account of someone claiming to be a time traveler dates back to 1911. Charlotte Ann Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain published a book entitled An Adventure under the names of Elizabeth Morrison and Frances Lamont. Within the book, they made claims of time travels and hauntings, recounting their visit to the Palace of Versailles, where they even caught a glimpse of a sexy ghost named Marie Antoinette. Given these were the 1900s, the story was the equivalent of an e-report on Kim Kardashian losing her earrings in the ocean. It did cause sensation, but moreover, a lot of ridicule by the wider community. Moving back to today, over the last 20 years or so, the allegations of time travelers appearing out in the wild has become more and more proliferated. The largest proponent of this, of course, the internet. As media begins to digitize in the early 2000s, the archival nature of the net and access to a lot of traditional media like photographs, films, cassettes, and vinyls are being stored and shared at a rate never seen before. Back in my day, I'll wait for the boomer jokes. If I wanted to watch a movie, I had to go get a membership at a video store, drive there, pick out the movie I wanted, assuming it hadn't already been picked up, bring it home and put it in a VHS player to watch. It still blows my mind that it was literally only 20 or so years ago. Even my first ever subscription to Netflix had DVDs being sent to the house, with a return envelope so I could get some new movies once I had returned the ones I'd watched. In a short time, tech has come a long way, and as such, we are better connected and set up because of it. A lot of the allegations of time travelers associated with old media had only recently surfaced due to the phenomenon. Join me as we go into the weird and wonderful world of some of these findings. In 2010, an Irish filmmaker by the name of George Clark uploaded footage onto an up-and-coming platform at the time named YouTube. The clip titled Chaplin's Time Traveler started to make waves on the site, as budding investigators noticed something very interesting. At one point, a woman is seen walking by holding up an object to her ear. Clark said that on closer examination, she was talking into a thin black device that had appeared to be a phone. Not sure what you know about 1928, but I can guarantee you there certainly wasn't any iPhones floating around, yet alone a Motorola flip phone. Receiving millions of views and even mainstream coverage, the sensation still is a point of debate amongst many time travel fans today. However, many experts familiar with the era and technology of the past have concluded that it's most likely the woman was holding up a portable hearing aid, even going further, pinpointing it down to a rectangular ear trumpet. Till today, this still stands as a strong point of contention between experts and enthusiasts alike. Even if it were some sort of a cell phone, how did she get coverage? Maybe she was just listening to the latest Bieber album. 1941, British Columbia. It's a beautiful day and the local townsfolk have gathered to celebrate the reopening of the South Fork Bridge. Very common at the time for people to be dressed to the nines with suits, hats, scarves, and what you might call smart business attire or formal attire in this modern day and age. In fact, this is how most people dressed back then, in particular when going to a momentous occasion such as a bridge reopening. Scene left, time-travelling hipster approaches. The photograph centered around this alleged time traveler was taken at that said reopening and shows in the sea of well-dressed participants a man who looks to be very out of place. He's dressed like he's ready for a Mumford & Sons concert, donning what looks like a hoodie, service station sunglasses, and a hockey shirt. Debate still rages on this one. Some people believe the photo altogether is photoshopped, others believe it is purely just a coincidence. The items of clothing he is wearing have been proven to be somewhat available at the time. Some say, with his clothing significantly different to those around him, it creates a sense of him being out of place, adding to the time traveler effect. In 2018, a multimedia artist by the name of Stuart Humphreys uploaded a genuine photograph from 1943 to Twitter. The photograph depicted a scene of holidaymakers enjoying the sun on a beach in Cornwall. Some viewers of the photograph were quick to point out an alleged time traveler operating what looked like a mobile device. Once again, the tweet and photograph were picked up around the world, with many focusing on the time traveler. It quickly propagated to large mainstream news outlets at the time, like Fox News, the Daily Mirror, and many others, even reaching countries like Russia, Iran, Taiwan, Hungary, China, and even Vietnam. Humphreys, the original uploader, was quick to dismiss the claims of time travel, stating that it's most likely the person in the photograph was merely rolling a cigarette. This one is a bit of an urban legend. The story of Rudolph Fentz, rumoured to have started hitting cycles in the early 1950s, and has been the basis of a lot of great science fiction movies, novels, and TV shows. The story goes like this. In 1951, New York City, a man wearing 19th century clothing was hit by a car. The subsequent investigations made by the New York City Police Department revealed that the man had disappeared without a trace in 1876. The items he possessed when he was hit by the car suggested that he had time travelled through time directly from 1876 straight to 1951. Experts who have looked into this urban legend believe that the basis of the story actually came from another science fiction novel published in the 1950s called A Voice from the Gallery. Nonetheless, a very interesting tale to ponder. Let's start with the one we know that simply isn't true. Nonetheless, John Titor, a pseudonym used by some creative mind on several online forums related to time travel, was heavily focused on in the early 2000s. He stated that there was no such thing as paradoxes and we were all living in one timeline. His claim? He had travelled back from the year 2036 on a military mission to warn the planet of future events, in particular global conflicts. Some of these included a civil war in the US in 2008, followed by a short nuclear war titled World War III in 2015, which would subsequently devastate human life as we know it. In 2021, we can comfortably assume that this was some sort of a hoax. However, that said, his posts have gone on to be legendary, even inspiring TV shows like popular visual novel and anime Steins Gate. The next topic, whilst very famous in the time traveller community, is one I'd like to briefly brush over. The reasons for this are that I believe it's clear the individual in question may have been going through some rough patches in his life at the time. Therefore, respecting that, I will only really touch on why it was widely known by many time travel enthusiasts and sadly where it ended. Bob White, also known as Tim Jones, was a professional spammer, sending thousands of emails daily, with most of them asking for the supply of a dimensional warp generator, either for himself or specifically from another fellow time traveller. The emails started to get the attention of the time travel community. Unfortunately, there was also those who decided to take advantage of the situation. A few people were successful in what I would call scamming Bob by creating online shops, courses, and charging thousands of dollars for Bob to purchase what he was after. It was later revealed that Bob was suffering from mental health issues, hence my reservedness in covering the topic further. Hold on to your seats, folks, because our last story is a fantastic one. 2003. A young man by the name of Andrew Carlssin has $800 and a dream. His dream? To be approximately $350 million richer. With nothing but his confidence and a trading account, Andrew embarks on trading 126 high-risk stock trades, and you guessed it, netting $350 million in profits in return. Of course, the SEC, enforcement agency for all things financial in America, gets wind of this, and soon after, Andrew is in a cell being interrogated on how he came to make so many successful trades. Andrew wipes the sweat off his forehead and tells the agent he is a time traveller. He has come back 200 years in time and offers a pretty sweet deal. If the agents let him go, he will tell them where Osama bin Laden is hiding and even throw in the cure for AIDS. However, whilst being held in custody, a mysterious figure posts his bail and he's never to be seen again. I mean, the story is insane, and at the time when it was going around, there was a lot of credibility behind it. It's rumoured that the original story was a satirical piece published on Weekly World News. The problem was, Yahoo News, a massive publication at the time, also picked up the story and published it, giving it a lot more credibility. You can see the domino effect from here. It was soon being reported by other newspapers and magazines as fact. Or maybe Andrew just came back and made sure the story looked like a plant. I guess we will never know. If you enjoyed today's video and you'd like to see more content like this, let me know in the comments below. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. I hope everyone has a fantastic end to the year. I'm looking forward to coming back next year with some more content.